I've got this small little kids pull-out sofa bed chair, which is all broken, so I'm going to fix it. As you can see, the armrests and that have all come off. So it should sit like that. So I'm going to fix this and cover it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pattern, and I'm just going to be drawing it onto some newspaper. I've just drawn a little diagram of what the little chair is going to look like spread out. So the measurements that I'm going for are 57 centimeters across the top. We'll talk about these measurements later on when we actually do it, but just to explain, the height of the armrest is 28 and it tapers down to 25 centimeters, and the width of it is 46 centimeters, and from the backrest to the little feet is 105 centimeters. But the pattern will be slightly different, and the width of my foam that I'm using is 9 centimeters for the armrests and 6 centimeters for the backrest and 6 centimeters for all the other pieces. So it's only the armrests that are actually different. So it will be done in one piece completely, but there's quite a lot of measurements. So when we cut the material, I'll explain how to put it all together. I'm just going to be using this old duvet cover because it's nice and bright. As I said, I'm using an old duvet cover, and as you can see, it's already got a join with just the right size little piece on the side, and on this side it's a little bit big, so I'll be cutting that one down. But what I've done is I've measured in from the seam line here, I've measured in 36 centimeters, and from the seam line that side I've measured in 55 centimeters, because that's the size of the little chair that I'm doing. And now I'm just going to cut that one piece out. And the next piece that I'm going to be cutting out at the same distance of from this little seam to my cut line, 56 centimeters, and from where I've cut the other piece out, I'm cutting up by 94 centimeters. So I'm going to cut that piece out. The next piece I'm cutting out is from where this one has actually got the join on it, and the join is an 8 centimeter join, which I'm leaving because I need 6 centimeters for the join, so I'll be cutting that down by 2 centimeters. So the balance of it from where the join is to where I'm going to be cutting is 24 centimeters, and to leave a seam allowance of 1 centimeter on each side, I'm making this particular piece 57 centimeters. So I'm just going to cut that small piece out. And the next piece we're going to be cutting out is 31 centimeters by 57 centimeters. The pieces that are going to go around the armrest, you need 2 pieces of 11 centimeters by 152 centimeters long. So I'm just going to cut those out. For the next 2 pieces we're going to be cutting out, I've got the right sides together, and this particular one is a bit of an angle because these are the armrests. So the distance from the top to the bottom of this one is 25 centimeters, and the length of it from there to there is 47 centimeters, and on the other side the distance from there to there is 30 centimeters, and when you measure the top one, because of the slope of it, it works out to 47.5 centimeters. So you need to make a pattern like that and then cut 2 pieces out. So just putting the right sides together, just cut that one piece out and it'll give you your 2 pieces. The next 2 pieces that we're going to be cutting out are the inner arm, and the distance from the top to the bottom on this particular one is 18 centimeters, and on the other side the distance is 23 centimeters. Now because this one goes at an angle, the distance at the bottom here is 35 centimeters, but the top one is actually 41 centimeters. So you must just make sure that you've got a straight line this side, and then you've got the angle on that side. And once again, I've got right sides together, and I'm cutting that out. We've got most of the pieces cut out, and now what we're doing is we're taking one of the inner arms, and with right sides facing inward, I'm taking the strip that we cut, and I'm leaving a seam allowance at the bottom like that, and we're just going to pin that to there. And then we're just going to go all the way around the inner piece with this long piece that we cut out. So just pin that all together. So your piece should look like that with the two sides attached. And now you're going to take the other piece and pin it onto the other side of the ridge, making sure that you've got the straight sides on the same side. So this one will go this side, lining it up with this one. We've got the right sides together, and then we just pin the outer arm onto the band as well. When you reach the corner where you're going to be going around, just mark it so that you've got the exact point when we're putting the inner one on this side. So I'm just going to put a pin so that I know exactly where that point is. So now when it comes to pin the inner one, we've got the corner in place. And I'm doing the same at the bottom. And then just go around the corner and finish the other side. So your piece should look like that with the little ridge all the way around. And now we're going to pin the inner arm to that. Once again, right sides together, and making sure that you've got the right piece that's going to go on the inside like that. So you've got the long side over there and the straight side this side. And now we pin this to that. That's what we did the corners for, so we can line it up like that, and we start pinning from that corner. And then just go all the way around and pin that to the straight piece that we cut. I've pinned the little piece all the way around, but notice I've left a gap here because that's where the other back piece is going to be inserted. So do the other one exactly the same as this one. I'm using an overlock machine, and I'm attaching the outer arm piece to the band. So just attach that so long. And then just go round the whole piece. So when I get to the end piece, I'm just carrying on straight and then taking it up so that I can flip this one to join that to get a nice square. So I just sewed right to the end, and now I can join this like that. And then sew to the next corner and do exactly the same. Once you've sewed all the way around, just check that you've caught everywhere so that there's no holes anywhere. And now we can sew the inner one. When you're sewing the inner one, make sure that you've got your corner like that, lining up with the other side so that you've got a nice straight line. And now this particular one, we're only sewing from the bottom of this straight line, which is the front of the little armrest, and we're just going to be sewing along up the top and along the top. All the other sides, like that one and the bottom one, are left open. I've got it all sewed together, and your piece should look like that. So we've got the top of the armrest, and then this is the inside piece and that's the front piece. So it's all sewed together now, and now we can move on to the next step. Now that we've sewed all the way around, on the back corner where the pieces cross over, I've just cut the square out, and now we're going to join these two pieces together so they look like this, and then we're going to just sew that little piece closed so we've got a corner piece. I'm just going to be using the zips that came with this duvet cover. Ideally you should have a zip that goes from the base all the way around and down the other side, but because I've only got those little zips, I'm going to just start at the base and see how far I go, because I can always put a bit of velcros in the middle here. The next piece we're going to join together is the 24 by 57. Now my particular piece has already got the little 6 centimeter ridge on it, so you'd need to sew that little piece on, so 6 centimeters by 57, and just sew it across one of the sides. We're going to sew the inner arm, which is the one that's got the really sharp angle onto it. We're going to just join that one to the 24 centimeter piece. Now you need to line, this is the little extra piece that we sewed on, and this is the inside piece here where we've joined all the ribbing that goes around, or the little extra piece of material that we used to join the front with the back. You need to line those up exactly on the seam lines, and then we're going to sew this particular piece in. Now with all the colours it's very difficult to see, so this is the sharp piece, so I've sewed that one and I've left this particular part open here because I want to put the zip on that section first before I seal this one in with the ridge. Then do exactly the same thing on the other side by joining on the seam line and then just sewing down that sharp angle that we've got onto the straight piece for the backrest. The three pieces joined together, the little chair is starting to look like that, and now we can start working on the zip. So now I'm working on the back and I'm trying to put the zips in. So I've marked the lowest point because you want to have the opening so that this whole piece can open out for when you put the whole cover onto the little chair. I've managed to salvage a slightly larger zip from an old cushion, and this particular zip goes all the way to that side, so I've only got this small little gap here which I'm not particularly worried about. I've placed the zip upside down on the right side of the material, and I'm going to use my zip foot with a straight sewer to sew the zip on so that when the zip gets turned over it's got a nice clean finish close to the zip edge. The piece of material that we've got, which is 45 centimeters by the 55 centimeters, we're going to modify that piece, and this is the piece that I told you had the seam with a little bit extra piece which I'm going to be trimming down. So now to trim this down, because it's going to wrap around, I'm cutting in, I'm not actually cutting it, I'm just putting a seam on, so at 34 centimeters just on this chalk line I'm just going to do a little seam along there so it folds nicely around the foam. And the side piece you want is 6 centimeters, tapering down to 4 centimeters. I'm just going to cut that off. Next patterns that we're going to be cutting out, we're going to cut out 4 pieces of this, and this is for the side of the chair. So the measurements are, the height of it is 7.5 centimeters, and the bottom of it is 33.5 centimeters, and you're going to measure into 27 centimeters, and all of that is at 7 centimeters, and then you're going to go and measure up by just 1 centimeter and then join that line like that. So you've got 4 pieces like that. The little pieces that we're modifying, you're going to need 4 of them. So I've got 6.5 centimeters because I've taken it down by 0.5 centimeter because I don't think I need such a big seam allowance, and it's going down to 4 centimeters. So it'll be 39 centimeters, and then you're adding your 7 centimeters onto that. And this small little piece that we cut out like this, we're going to be working on this part, because this is going to be covering this particular piece of foam that we cut out, and this one goes down at the 45-degree angle like that. So we're going to place a piece of material on top of that, and then take the little piece that we've got that's angled and place it onto the side like this, and following the line of the material by pinning it so that it will curve around the little seat like that. I've pinned the little piece onto that, and as you can see I've gone around so that the top piece is going in that same angle. And now we can sew that and do the same to the other side. When you pin the piece, start pinning at where you've got your seam that is going to be going around the front of this particular piece of foam. And then, because later on we're going to be closing this part up to give us this little corner to go over the chair like that. The next piece that we're going to be working on is the piece that is the 95 by 56 centimeters, and those small little pieces that we cut out with the little angles on them, we're going to place those on to that one piece on the same sides, both in the front, and when we get to the back piece here, we're just going to wrap this material around there to make that corner to wrap around the foam. So I'm just going to sew those in now. So once again I'm just going to be using my overlocker, so sewing it to the end of that piece and then taking it off and then twisting it and sewing around. If you're doing it with a straight sewer, all you have to do is leave your needle in there and then rotate your material so that you've got a straight line to go along. I've sewed my little piece on, and as I said to you on the side here, all you're going to do is just fold this big piece of material onto that little piece to make the corner, and then just sew that down like that. I've got the corners sewed in to make that little pocket so that we can flip it inside out, so we've got a nice little square like that. And then just do the same to the other side. So we've got both the covers on like that, and so they're both individuals with the piece that goes in the middle here, and now we're going to join these two pieces together. So just pin those right sides together and then sew along that line. I've got it all pinned, so we're joining it at this small little section where those little pieces come down. As you can see, there the little arches are, and we're going to join it along that line there. So once again I'm just using the overlocker to do that. I've sewed all the little pieces together, and we've got the little corner piece on this one, and now we're going to just flip a little piece of foam up, and you'll see that big piece comes down the back. And now we're going to attach it to the armrest pieces that we cut, that little extra piece for the armrest. So now we're going to attach it on that side and on this side. So just pin those and then sew those all around. So this particular piece, a bit hard to see that one, this particular piece here, which is the base of the chair and the armrest here, you're going to sew that piece to there and then go all the way around to the bottom. Don't worry about the back for the time being. So now we're on to our last piece of sewing this final zip in, and so we've got the little back piece, which is the one that is the 57 centimeters, which is the span of that, and then the 29 centimeters, which is for the back. So to put our zip in, as you can see, it goes under to the back. So you want to sew this piece together first so that we can sew the zip all in one. So this is the inner arm, and this is the front of the inner arm, and of course the back. And now we're going to be joining that small piece at the bottom. So this is one of the bottom pieces that's got the angle that's going down in that direction. So we've got the square piece here. Now what we're going to be doing is joining the whole back piece. So at the seam right here, where you've got this part and this part, which is the front inner arm and the bottom bed piece, you're going to be joining those two pieces and sewing the back all together. I'm just using the overlock to do that and going all the way until I reach the zip, where I'll be using the straight sewer to put the zip in. I'm just finishing off here by the zip, so I'm just going to swing it. So now we've got the whole base sewed on. And then, as I said, we'll put the zip on with the straight sewer. For the little sleeping part, I'm just using, it's an old dress that has been thrown away. And it's really, really nice, soft, like kind of velvety feel to it, but it's also stretchy, and it's advisable to use a stretchy piece of material for the sleeping section, otherwise you'll struggle to get the foam into the little cover. And now we're just going to sew this all the way around, attaching it to the inner arm and to the back and the sides, and all the way around the sides here. So I'm going to be cutting this piece of material at 56 centimeters by 106 centimeters. I've marked the armrests where I'm going to be gluing. So this piece is going to be gluing onto the side of the chair here, and I'm going to be using this spray adhesive. Now, because this is a contact adhesive, you need to spray both surfaces. So I'm going to spray on both surfaces, and just to make sure that I don't get the parts that I don't want sprayed, I'm going to be covering those with some newspaper. I've got my pick covered, and now I'm just going to spray the glue on, and then you do that to both sides of the armrests. Because this is a contact adhesive, you need to just wait for it to get a little bit tacky before you put the two pieces together. I've got the armrests glued on and the back piece as well, which is glued on top of the base, and now we can put the cover on. So now the first thing you'll notice is we've got the 45-degree angles that are cut like that on both of them. So when we put the chair together, one of the 45s goes in that direction and the other one is going to go like that, so that it makes the little chair. So when you're putting them in, you've got to make sure that you put your pieces down on the floor, that you've got your two 45-degree angles facing each other like that, so that when they collapse up, it closes to make the seat like that. So now we're going to be threading the first piece into the cover. Because my foam is in very poor condition, what I've done is I've made an inside one. So this would be the lining, just to cover all the foam. I'm going to be showing you how to put the foam pieces into my inside lining. But if you don't have an inside lining, you'll be putting your pieces into your material in exactly the same way that I'm putting it inside my lining. Working with black, this is very difficult to see, but the small piece that we've got that goes from large to small, that is like the wedge, and that's got the material that is going to be showing, you need to place upside down like that, so that the piece that is like the sheet that you lie on is facing upward. And now we're going to thread this one into that piece. I find the easiest way to put it in is to fold the piece of foam in half and then find the corners, which is there, and put it over the corner of the piece of foam, and then we release the foam and then flatten it all out. Sorry, it's very difficult to see the black, but I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. So I've got the first piece in, and now we're going to put the next one in. I've got both the seat pieces in place, and now we're going to start threading it over the side and the back to complete the whole little seat. So I've done another one, which is a red one, which I'm also going to be showing you how to put together as well. I've got another one of the covers. The only difference with this one is instead of going around the back, I've put the zip down the side, and I put this non-slip fabric underneath. So now we're going to put all the foam inside this cover. As you can see, the way we've sewed it, we've got a square part there, and then it tapers to go thin like that. So when you're putting your piece of foam in, you must make sure that you're putting it in the right direction. So as I said, you put the angle part lying flat down, and then thread the piece through the material. You have to bend your piece of foam in half so you can actually get it through the small section between the middle over here. And now when you're putting it together, you must make sure that you've got the angled sections of your cushions so that they're like that, so that when the chair is folded up, you've got your connection just like that. So when we put it into the cover, these ones have got to be lying face down. And as I said, so this is going to be the front part of my chair, because that's the best part of it. So now, as you can see, we've got the one piece in at the bottom, and now we thread the next piece through. So we've got both pieces in, so that when it goes up, it folds up like that. And now we're going to put the rest in. Now we're going to be putting the armrests in. As you can see, it's got a slightly tapered shape to it. So we're just going to put those armrests in there. So we've got the armrest that tapers from short to large. And when you have a look, you've got the large part that's at the back and the small one that's in the front. So we're just going to put that inside there. And then do the same on the other side. So we've got the two armrests in, and now we're taking the big base piece and we're going to put that on top of that piece. That's the base of it, and then we're going to line that up and then pull our pieces back over and then stand the armrests up. And now we're going to be putting the backrest in. Now the backrest once again tapers from large to small, so we put in the large piece at the bottom so that it leans backwards like that. And now we can flip it over and close it all up. So I've zipped everything closed, and now we can close the chair. And to close the chair, we just lift it up like that, so that we've got the square in the front, and there's our cute little sofa. So there's the little chair completed. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.